Hold up. The First Bishops' War of 1639 was less of a loud battlefield saga and more of a tragic comedy of politics, pride, and poorly armed preachers. It began when King Charles I, convinced that divine right was a good substitute for diplomacy, tried to force the Scottish Church to adopt the Anglican Book of Common Prayers. The Scots, proud of their Presbyterian heritage, took one look at this English improvement and said a collective resounding no, more like no. Out of this defiance grew the National Covenant of 1638, a bold document that promised loyalty to the crown, only if the crown respected Scottish faith. Charles saw this as rebellion wrapped in religious rhetoric and decided it was time to flex some royal muscle. Unfortunately, his treasury was as empty as his popularity was low. Without money for proper troops, he hastily gathered an army of untrained Englishmen, some of whom probably were better prepared for a parade rather than a war. Meanwhile, the Scots, under the leadership of General Alexander Leslie, formed the Covenanter Army, a disciplined force seasoned by veterans of the 30 Years' War. When the two sides finally faced off near the border, it became painfully obvious that one side was ready for war and the other came for tea. The English soldiers lacked supply, morale, and quite frankly, motivation to fight their fellow Protestants. The Scots, on the other hand, fortified themselves and sent messages filled with moral conviction and a dash of Presbyterian snark. Instead of a bloody clash, the war turned into a tense standoff of posturing and negotiations. The king, realizing he had more prayer books than canons, reluctantly agreed to the Treaty of Berwick in June of 1639. This treaty temporarily ended the conflict and restored peace. It also allowed both sides to withdraw, though neither trusted the other for one moment. Many English nobles saw this retreat as a weakness on the part of the king, while the Scots viewed it as divine vindication. The supposed victory of the Covenanters emboldened them, while the king fumed in private, planning his next move. One could say it was the kind of war where everybody shouted amen. Yet beneath the humor lay a serious fracture in the relationship between monarchy and subjects, between royal authority and religious conviction. The war revealed how fragile the monarchy had become and how deeply the issue of faith could divide a nation that supposedly shared the same faith. So was this truly a war about religion? Or was religion just a polite mask for power, pride, and control?